The soft buzz of voices and the gentle clink of silverware filled the air in a classy New York City restaurant. The lighting was warm and low, just the kind of place where every dish looked like art and every guest seemed full of confidence. But Emma Brooks didn't feel confident at all. Just moments earlier, her reflection in the shiny window reminded her of the truth. Her dress was second-hand, her shoes were worn, and her nerves were a mess. Still, she had promised her best friend, Jenny, that she'd go through with the blind date. Clutching her phone tightly, Emma stepped inside, scanning the room. "Table S. Table S," she whispered to herself, heart racing. Her eyes landed on a sharply dressed man sitting alone near the back. His dark hair was perfectly styled, and he seemed focused on his phone. That has to be him, she thought. Taking a deep breath, she walked over and forced a cheerful smile. "Hi, you must be Kevin. I'm Emma. Nice to meet you." Liam Parker looked up, clearly caught off guard. He blinked, momentarily speechless. Hi." Emma mistook his surprise for shyness and quickly slid into the seat across from him, her hands nervously twisting in her lap. "Oh, I know this is kind of awkward. Blind dates can be weird, right? Jenny said you might be a little quiet, so don't worry, I can talk enough for both of us." Liam opened his mouth to explain, but paused. A message from his business associate had just popped up, canceling their meeting, and something about Emma's sincere smile made him hesitate. She wasn't like the polished, strategic people he usually met. She seemed real, genuine. So, he decided to go along with it, a small smile forming at the corner of his lips. Right, blind dates are definitely something else. Emma laughed, a little nervous, and took a sip of water. "Tell me about it. Jenny's been trying to set me up for ages, but I've just been swamped. Work, you know." "Work?" Liam asked, curious in spite of himself. "I'm a waitress," Emma admitted, playing with the edge of her napkin. "Not very glamorous, but it covers the bills. Well, most of them, anyway." She smiled. "Enough about me. What do you do?" Liam hesitated. I work in tech." "Tech? That's cool," Emma said brightly. "Like apps and coding and all that? I'm hopeless with computers." "Something like that," Liam replied, his smile growing as he leaned back in his chair, watching her. Her honesty was like a breath of fresh air, even if she'd mistaken him for someone else. Surprisingly, the conversation flowed easily. Emma shared stories about working at the diner, struggling with bills, and her dream of opening an art studio one day. Liam found himself laughing more than he had in months. Her energy was infectious. "You're not what I expected," Emma said suddenly, her voice thoughtful. Liam raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "Well, Jenny said you were kind of reserved," Emma replied, her cheeks turning pink. "But you're really easy to talk to." Liam chuckled softly. "You're easy to talk to, too." Emma lit up at the compliment, her nerves slowly settling. She was just about to ask him more about his job in tech when her phone buzzed. "Hey, Emma, where are you? I'm at table 7. Looking forward to meeting you." "Kevin." Her heart dropped. She read the message again, slower this time. Then, with growing dread, she looked up at Liam, her face flushing with embarrassment. "You're not Kevin, are you?" she asked in a small, shaky voice. Liam's smile faded, a flicker of guilt in his eyes. "Number I'm not." Emma's stomach flipped. Oh my God. The words slipped from her lips as she stood up, panicked. I'm so sorry. I sat at the wrong table. This is so embarrassing." "Wait, Emma, it's okay, Liam stood too, reaching out, but she was already pulling on her coat and rushing toward the door, her face burning. Liam stood there watching her leave, a strange mix of regret and curiosity swirling inside him. He'd meant to tell her the truth from the start, but now all he could think about was whether he'd ever see her again, and why the idea of never seeing her bothered him so much. Later, in his penthouse suite high above the city, Liam stared out at the sparkling New York skyline. The usual hum of traffic and soft glow of the lights below typically brought him peace. But tonight, his thoughts were far away, back at the restaurant, back with Emma. There was something about her, a kind of sincerity and warmth that felt rare in his world of sleek appearances and carefully worded conversations. She had been open with him, even vulnerable, talking about her life without trying to impress. It was so different from what he was used to. Business contacts who treated words like currency, women who noticed his money before they noticed him. But Emma had thought he was someone else, someone ordinary. And that made her honesty even more fascinating. For the first time in a long while, Liam felt something unexpected. Curiosity. Across the city, Emma collapsed onto her couch with a groan, burying her face in a throw pillow. Her roommate Jenny peeked over her laptop, grinning. "That bad, huh?" she asked, closing it. Emma sat up, her cheeks still flushed. "Worse. I sat at the wrong table, Jenny. I had an entire conversation with a total stranger thinking he was Kevin." Jenny tried not to laugh. "What happened?" Emma launched into the story, the words tumbling out all at once. "He was nice. Really nice, actually. Funny, too. But then I got the text from the real Kevin. And I just bolted. Out of there like an idiot," Emma muttered, groaning again. "Sounds like the start of a rom-com," Jenny teased with a grin. Emma grabbed a pillow and covered her face. "I just hope I never see him again." Jenny raised an eyebrow. "You sure about that? You said he was nice." "He was," Emma admitted, lowering the pillow just enough to peek over it. "But it doesn't matter. I made a complete fool of myself." "Maybe it's not the end of the world," Jenny said with a shrug. "People mess up. And hey, if he was as nice as you say, maybe he didn't mind." The next morning, Liam sat in his office, scrolling through emails without really reading them, while his assistant Claire read through his schedule for the day. "Cancel lunch with Rothman," Liam said suddenly, cutting her off. Claire paused and glanced at him. "You've been distracted since last night. Did something happen?" Liam hesitated, thinking it over. "I met someone," he said at last. "By accident." Claire raised an eyebrow. "By accident?" Liam leaned back in his chair, his face thoughtful. "She thought I was someone else. We talked. She doesn't know who I am. And for the first time in years, it felt normal." Claire set down her clipboard. "And now, I want to see her again," Liam said simply. A small smile played at the corners of Claire's lips. "And how exactly do you plan to do that?" "I have an idea," Liam said, getting to his feet. Later that day, Emma was finishing her shift at the diner when her phone buzzed. She wiped her hands on a towel and checked it, frowning at the unknown number. "Hi, Emma. This is Liam. I was the guy at the restaurant the other night. I know it was a mix-up, but I'd really like to see you again. Coffee, maybe?" Emma stared at the message, her heart skipping. Liam wasn't Kevin's friend, was he? That evening, she showed the text to Jenny, her brows drawn together. "What do I do?" Jenny grinned. "You say yes, obviously. What's the worst that could happen?" After a long pause and a deep breath, Emma replied, "Okay. Coffee sounds nice." The coffee shop Liam picked was cozy and tucked away from the usual city noise. When Emma arrived, she spotted him already seated, dressed casually in jeans and a button-down shirt. "Hi," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. "Hi," Liam replied with a smile. "Thanks for coming." Emma shrugged. "I figured I owed you an apology for running out the other night." "No apology needed," Liam said gently. "Honestly, I'm glad you did. Otherwise, I might not have had a reason to reach out." They ordered drinks, and as they talked, Emma began to relax. Liam was easy to talk to, his humor dry but charming. He asked about her art, her family, her hopes for the future. "So, what do you do?" Emma asked after a while. "I work in tech," Liam said, choosing his words carefully. Mostly startups. Emma nodded. That sounds complicated. It can be. It can be, Liam admitted. But I enjoy it. As the afternoon went on, Liam found himself more and more pulled into Emma's world. She told him about her mother, whose medical bills meant she worked 2 jobs, and about her own drawings, sketches she dreamed of turning into a full-time career. You're incredibly resilient, Liam said, his admiration clear. Emma gave a soft laugh. Resilient or stubborn? Take your pick. That evening, back at the office, Liam's assistant wasn't so patient. Claire caught him in the hallway, arms crossed. You've been out all day, she said, eyeing him. What's going on with this woman? Liam let out a sigh, rubbing the back of his neck. She's different. Claire narrowed her eyes. And you're still not telling her who you really are? Not yet, Liam admitted. I want her to get to know me, not my bank account. Claire's expression softened, but her voice stayed firm. You know you can't keep this up forever, right? She's going to find out, and if she finds out on her own, it's not going to end well. Liam nodded slowly. He knew she was right. But for now, he wasn't ready to risk losing the most real connection he'd felt in years. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air as Emma stepped into the cozy cafe. Her nerves were calmer this time. When she spotted Liam at a table in the corner, she gave a small, tentative wave. He looked up, his smile warm and easy. Gone was the sharp suit she remembered. Today he wore a soft gray sweater and jeans, blending in with the relaxed feel of the place. Hi, Emma said as she sat down across from him. Hi, Liam replied, his voice low but sincere. Thanks for meeting me again. She shrugged, trying to hide her nerves. It's not every day a stranger from a restaurant texts you. I was curious. Liam chuckled, sipping his coffee. I'm glad curiosity won. The conversation flowed naturally, their laughter mixed with the soft background noise of the cafe. Liam asked about her artwork, and Emma found herself opening up, more than she usually did. She told him how drawing had helped her through hard times, how her dad used to encourage her, and how she dreamed of starting a studio for young artists. You're incredibly passionate about this, Liam said, clearly impressed. It's all I've ever wanted, Emma replied, her cheeks turning pink. You'll get there, Liam said, his voice steady and sure. After they left the cafe, Emma led Liam to her favorite park, a peaceful spot with winding paths and plenty of benches for sketching. This is where I come when I need inspiration, she said, pulling a small sketchbook from her bag. She flipped through the pages, revealing detailed drawings of people, trees, and city scenes. Liam looked through them, amazed. These are amazing. You could sell these? Emma smiled a little shyly. Maybe one day. For now. They're just for me, Emma said with a smile. As they walked through the park, she paused by the pond to sketch a little boy feeding ducks. Liam stood nearby, quietly watching her. He was amazed at how focused she became, how her hand moved with such ease across the page. You're amazing, he said softly. Emma glanced up, meeting his eyes. I'm just drawing. No, Liam replied, holding her gaze. It's more than that. A few days later, Liam offered to help Emma with her groceries. He insisted it was no trouble. You're going to regret this, Emma joked as they stood in line at the local discount market. Why's that? Liam asked, holding a carton of milk. Because these bags are heavy, she laughed. When they arrived at her apartment building, Liam carried most of the bags up the stairs without a word of complaint. Still, he noticed the peeling paint and the flickering lights in the hallway. This place has character, he said carefully as they reached her door. Emma snorted. That's one way to put it. Inside, her apartment was small but inviting. Art supplies were scattered around the living room, and her sketches decorated the walls like a personal gallery. Liam felt a wave of admiration. and guilt. Her life was humble, yet her space was full of warmth and creativity. As they unpacked the groceries, Emma talked about her mom, who had always encouraged her art but now struggled with her health. "It's tough sometimes," Emma admitted, stacking cans in the cupboard. "But I'm lucky to have her. She's the strongest person I know." Liam nodded, his respect for her deepening. One evening, Emma invited him to an art gallery opening she'd been looking forward to. As they walked through the exhibits, her eyes lit up with each painting they passed. Liam found himself completely drawn in by her excitement. They stopped in front of one painting, a father and daughter fishing by a lake, the brushstrokes vivid and full of feeling. Emma's breath caught. "What is it?" Liam asked gently, stepping closer. Her voice was barely audible. "It reminds me of my dad. We used to go fishing every summer when I was a kid." Tears gathered in her eyes, and she quickly wiped them away. "Sorry, it's silly, I know." "It's not silly," Liam said, his voice low. Without thinking, he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "He'd be proud of you." Emma looked up at him, her emotions open and unguarded. For a moment, the busy gallery disappeared. All that remained was the quiet connection between them. As they walked home, Emma's thoughts spun with emotion, confusion, hope, longing. Kevin, as she still believed Liam to be, had become someone she cared about, someone who truly saw her. But in the back of her mind, a small voice whispered. Her voice was soft as she asked, "I don't get it." Liam looked over at her. "Don't get what?" "Why you're spending time with me," Emma said, finally voicing the thought that had been nagging her. "You could be with anyone doing anything, so why me?" Liam hesitated. The guilt rose in his chest again, sharp and unwelcome. "Because I like being around you," he said quietly. "Isn't that enough?" Emma gave him a small smile but didn't say anything. The question still lingered in her heart, unanswered. Later that night, Liam sat alone in his penthouse, staring out at the city lights. Normally, the view brought him peace, but tonight, it just made him feel alone. He knew he'd have to tell Emma the truth eventually, that he wasn't just some guy in tech, that he was Liam Parker, a name she might already know. But the idea of losing her scared him, so he told himself he'd wait. Just a little longer. Across town, Emma curled up on her couch with a cup of tea, idly scrolling through her phone. She stopped when a headline caught her eye. Liam Parker, the elusive tech millionaire, expands philanthropic efforts. She tapped the article. A photo popped up, sharply dressed man, dark hair, confident posture. Her brow furrowed. There was something oddly familiar about him. "Hey, Jenny," Emma called to her roommate, who was piecing together a puzzle at the kitchen table. "Yeah?" Jenny replied without looking up. Emma held up the phone. "Does this guy look like Kevin to you?" Jenny glanced at the screen, then burst out laughing. Definitely not. That guy's like a billionaire or something, right? Kevin's way more normal." Emma stared at the picture a moment longer, her stomach tight. She shook her head. "Don't be ridiculous," she muttered to herself. Still, the feeling didn't quite go away. A few days later, Emma invited Liam over for dinner. She wanted to thank him for the encouragement, the support, the way he made her believe in herself again. When he arrived with a bouquet of wildflowers, she grinned. "You didn't have to bring anything?" Liam shrugged, handing them over. "Consider it a thank you for inviting me." Dinner was simple, spaghetti and garlic bread served on mismatched plates. But the mood was warm and full of laughter. Emma talked about her decision to enter an art contest, a leap of faith she'd taken because of Liam's earlier encouragement. "You've done so much for me," she said softly. "Not just with the art stuff. You're just kind, humble. It's really refreshing." Liam's smile faltered for just a second. Then he looked down, hiding the guilt in his eyes. "I'm just being myself," he said, forcing a sip of water. As Emma chatted on, Liam felt the weight of her trust pressing against the truth he hadn't told. She admired him for who she thought he was, but he wasn't ready to lose her, not yet. What he didn't know was that truth always finds its way out, and it was already on its way. Emma was helping coordinate auction items at the charity gala, an elegant event raising funds for underprivileged youth. The ballroom buzzed with energy, the tables draped in fine linens and silent auction items glinting under soft lighting. She was arranging a display of donated artwork when a wave of excitement swept through the room. "Who's that?" one of the volunteers whispered, nodding toward the entrance. Emma turned and froze. Liam had just walked in. He looked completely at ease in a perfectly tailored suit, his confident stride drawing eyes from all corners of the ballroom. Her heart jumped in her chest. "What is he doing here?" The event organizer approached him with a warm handshake, then turned to address the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to welcome our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Liam Parker, whose generosity has made this night possible." Applause erupted across the room, but Emma barely heard it. Her world was spinning. Liam Parker, not Kevin, not some guy in tech, the Liam Parker, the elusive tech millionaire. She watched from across the room, numb, as the pieces clicked into place. Later, once the event had settled and the crowd had thinned, Emma approached him. Liam stood near a small group laughing politely, but his smile faded the moment he saw her. "Emma," he said, stepping toward her. "We need to talk," she said, her voice even but cold. He nodded and led her to a quiet hallway just outside the ballroom, away from the noise and laughter. Emma folded her arms, her eyes hard. "So, you're Liam Parker, the billionaire. Want to explain why you let me believe you were someone else?" Liam exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "I never meant to lie. When we met, it was a mix-up. You thought I was someone else, and I liked it. I liked that you didn't know who I was. That you talked to me like a person, not a headline." Her jaw clenched. "So you just decided to keep the lie going? Let me fall for a version of you that wasn't real?" "No," Liam said quickly. "Emma, everything we shared was real. I didn't know how to tell you without ruining it, without losing you." "You mean without shattering the illusion," she snapped. Her voice rose, laced with hurt. "Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? I trusted you. I believed you." "I am the person you got to know," Liam said, desperation creeping into his voice. "You're the only one who's ever seen me for who I am, not what I own. I didn't want to lose that." Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them away, shaking her head. "You already did." She turned, her steps quick and sure as she walked away. Liam reached out instinctively but let his hand fall. There was nothing he could say to undo what had just happened. That night, Emma sat in her room, sketchbook in her lap but untouched. Her pencil lay still as her mind churned, a storm of betrayal, anger, and sadness. A soft knock came at her door. Jenny peeked her head in. Emma shook her head as tears slipped silently down her cheek. "No, not really." Jenny sat beside her without a word, pulling her into a gentle hug. "Do you want to talk about it?" Emma hesitated, her voice barely a whisper. "I don't know if I was falling for him, or for the version of him I thought I knew." Jenny held her tighter. "Whatever it was, you deserve someone honest with you. Don't settle for anything less." That night, Emma lay awake staring at the ceiling, her chest heavy and mind reeling. Liam Parker. He might have been kind. He might have made her feel seen. But the betrayal, it cut too deep. For now, she needed to protect her heart. She needed to focus on herself. Liam and all his lies had to stay behind. Across town, Liam sat at his desk, the glow of the city lights flickering through the window. Normally, the view calmed him. Tonight it felt cold, distant. Emma's words echoed in his head. You already have. He'd broken something real, shattered the one connection that wasn't built on wealth or expectations. Someone had finally seen him for who he truly was, and he'd let her slip away. I have to fix this, he muttered. Claire entered the room, placing a mug of coffee on his desk. Long night? Liam turned to her, eyes steady. I need advice. Claire lifted an eyebrow. That's new. What's the situation? It's about Emma, he admitted. He explained everything. The lie, the fallout, the regret. Claire listened, arms folded, eyes thoughtful. If she's as special as you say, she said at last, you're going to have to show her, not tell her. Actions speak louder than any apology. The next day, Liam knocked on Emma's apartment door. To his surprise, Jenny answered. She crossed her arms, blocking the doorway. You've got some nerve, she said flatly. I need your help, Liam said, his voice earnest. Please. Jenny hesitated, eyes searching his face for a trace of insincerity. Then she sighed. You've got 5 minutes. Inside, Liam laid out his plan. He wanted to buy the small, struggling art gallery Emma had always dreamed of owning and fill it with her work. Unbeknownst to her, he'd been quietly collecting some of her sketches through friends and contacts, knowing how much they meant to her. I want her to see that I believe in her, he said, voice low but firm, and that I'll do whatever it takes to make things right. Jenny studied him a long time. Then, slowly, she nodded. She deserves someone who fights for her. Don't screw this up. It took weeks of planning. Liam threw himself into the project, working closely with the gallery owner to finalize the purchase, curating Emma's artwork with care. Each piece was framed, softly lit, displayed with love and precision. The space felt like her heart, her dreams, her voice. On the day of the reveal, he left a handwritten note at the front desk and slipped out quietly, making sure every last detail was in place. That afternoon, Emma was walking home when her sketches had been more than a grand gesture. It had been a reflection of who she was, a mirror held up by someone who had truly seen her. Emma traced the edge of the paper, her thoughts tangled in memory and emotion. The pain of Liam's betrayal hadn't vanished, but neither had the feelings she'd tried to bury. In a world that had so often overlooked her, he had put her front and center. The question was no longer whether he'd lied. It was whether she believed he could be honest now. She glanced at the clock. It was late, but she didn't feel tired. Instead, she felt unsettled, on the cusp of something. With a deep breath, Emma reached for her phone and opened her messages. Her thumb hovered over his name for a long moment before she finally typed, I'm not promising anything, but I'm ready to talk. Coffee? The response came almost instantly. Anytime, anywhere, just say the word. Emma set the phone down and looked back out the window, her heart no longer heavy but tentative, like the first pencil stroke on a blank canvas. Box, holding it out toward Emma. Her breath caught in her throat as he opened it to reveal a delicate silver ring, set with a small, sparkling stone that caught the light in the most beautiful way. Emma, Liam continued, his voice soft but filled with emotion, I don't need grand gestures either, but I want you to know that you're everything I never knew I needed. I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life showing you just how much. Will you marry me? The room fell into a stunned silence, and Emma's heart skipped a beat. She looked at the ring, then at Liam, the weight of the moment settling around them like a cocoon. His eyes were filled with hope, vulnerability, and love, and for the first time she knew, truly knew, that this was real. A wave of emotions crashed over her, relief, joy, tenderness, and yes, even fear. But most of all, she felt an overwhelming sense of trust. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had led her here, to this moment, to this man who, despite his past mistakes, had proven time and again how much he cared. Her voice trembled as she spoke, her smile growing wider with each word. "Yes, Liam. Yes." The room erupted in applause, and for the first time, Emma felt her heart settle. In that moment, surrounded by the art she had created and the life she was beginning to build, she knew that love wasn't about perfection. It was about finding someone who could help you heal, who could accept your flaws, and who was willing to fight for the future you both dreamed of. Liam slipped the ring onto her finger, his eyes not leaving hers as the applause continued. He pulled her into a gentle embrace, holding her tightly as if to say with every fiber of his being, "I'm not letting go." As they pulled apart, Liam whispered, "I love you, Emma." And she, with the brightest smile, whispered back, "I love you too." The gallery was a success, their future uncertain but full of possibility. But for now, as Emma stood there, in the arms of the man who had shown her that love could be as real as the sketches she brought to life, she knew they were exactly where they were meant to be. And this was just the beginning. What a beautiful conclusion to Emma and Liam's story. Their journey from uncertainty to a deep and meaningful connection, filled with growth and forgiveness, is truly heartwarming. It's such a powerful reminder of how love can transform even the most challenging circumstances, and how sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most extraordinary endings.